Hey guys, Courtney at Point Acupuncture here. Just thought I would give you a glimpse into my own self-acupuncture routine. I'm going to show you the facial points that I use and the auricular points that I used in my ear. I can't really show you the arms and legs because I can't move them once they have needles in, but I figured I could show you what I can. I am starting with nice clean hands, just wash my hands. I have a little bit of hand sanitizer that I'm going to use after touching other things. I also have a couple of alcohol prep pads that I'm going to use to prepare my points before I stick needles into them. It'll give you a little bit of a hint of what's to come. I'm going to try to talk through all of these points, why I'm picking these points for myself. Some of you may have had some of these points done on you last time you were in the office as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to wipe all these points, make sure that I am not punching any bacteria any deeper into my skin by cleaning the surface of the skin before sticking things into it. And I'll try to remember to tell you what I'm doing as I'm doing it. First video, guys. This is exciting. I do have some 1-inch needles. I have some 1/2-inch needles. We're not going super deep into the face because there's not a whole lot of tissue there. Most of the points that we do in the face are subcutaneous, so they go sort of parallel to the skin. If you are squeakish about needles, I would recommend skipping the rest of this video because we're about to get needly. I'm going to start with what was introduced to me as Yin Tong Crown. It's a collection of 4 points that's really, really great. Sedative prescription. I use this for myself for stress, obviously. I have some problems with insomnia. I hold a lot of tension in my face. I have some headaches as well sometimes. So this is the first point that is part of this little crown. We call it a crown because then it ends up looking like a crown once all the needles are in. This first point right here is called Yin Tong. I do have a mirror over here so I can actually see what I'm doing. Hopefully you can see it too. Yin Tong is a great sedative point. I call it the unicorn horn. Once it goes in, it's sort of like an off switch for your brain, maybe a dimmer switch more than an off switch. It just calms everything down, gets things nice and relaxed. The next point that I'm going to do in connection with this crown is called Do 24. It's just inside the hairline at the top of the forehead, right above Yin Tong. Same sort of thing. It's a nice sedative point. This one is also good for sinus issues along with Yin Tong. Goes right under the skin. Both of these points are also great for headaches. If you're interested in the musculature that's underneath, Yin Tong is going right into the belly of Procerus. This one, Do 24, is going pretty much right where frontalis meets occipitalis as well. Same with these next 2 points. This is GB13. These are the last 2 points of the crown on either side of the head. It is 3 Sun, which is measured distance from finger to finger from this very central point, this Do 24 here, so right about here. This is also a really good point for headaches. It's part of the sedative crown that I am getting in there, going right along with the skin, right into that muscle, right where frontalis starts to turn into occipitalis as well. And I'll get the other side. This is a bilateral point. It's in the same place on both sides, so that 3 Sun measurement just inside the hairline, going right under the skin. And to be completely honest with you guys, I don't even feel these going in, which is good. Next couple of points. Small intestine 19. There's been a couple of articles that I've seen lately where people have discovered that they can choose to flex the muscle that is connected to the eardrum. It's called tensor tympani. So they can make this rattling sort of sound in their ear. I don't have a choice over when that happens. That muscle spasms on a regular basis for me, especially if I'm in a really loud area. So I feel the vibration as well as hearing the vibration, and it gets really overwhelming and really annoying sometimes. So I'm going to use one of these 1/2-inch needles. We're going to go right in front of the tragus, right in through here. Now there is some bony things that I need to dodge while I'm putting in the needle right there. Part of the mandible is right under that point. So I'm going to open my mouth to do that. This point is going straight into auricularis anterior. It's not going very deep. But in order to get it into the right place, I have to open my mouth. That's going to move that bony process away. And then once the needle is in, I can start talking like I regularly do. Same thing on the other side. And you can already see some of my blood flow starting to increase. Okay, so SI19 is in on both sides. Next is going to be stomach 7 and stomach 6. This is for the tension in my jaw. I have temporomandibular joint dysfunction. I have a lot of pain associated with my jaws, a lot of clicking. They don't usually line up the way they should. It's really uncomfortable sometimes. Stomach 7 is going to be right under the zygomatic arch. It's going into the origin of the masseter muscle. So this is a mechanical release more than it is an energetic release. I'm just lining up the needles right where the muscle happens to be. This is really good for facial tension, also good for headaches if the headaches are exacerbated by jaw clenching. I do clench a little bit at night when I'm asleep. And this one is stomach 6. I'll probably have to change the way I'm talking here in a couple of seconds once we get the other side in. These are 1/2-inch needles. We never put the needles all the way into the hilt. They're more likely to get stuck that way. Man, my blood is really increased. That's awesome. And this is the side, this left side is the side that I usually have more trouble with, more pain. And the last point that I'm going to do in the face head area, not including my ears, is a point called Sanjiao 17. Sanjiao is an organ that does not exist in Western medicine. It's more of a body cavity idea, responsible for water metabolism, all sorts of things. This particular point is going to go right behind the ear. It goes right into the insertion of sternocleidomastoid, SCM we call it for short. I'm not sure that you guys will be able to see this one, but it goes right behind the ear. If you find that little bony, sticky outy point that's kind of tender under the ear, that's what I'm aiming for. Using those 1/2-inch needles again, they're not going very deep, not even going a 1/2 inch into the skin. Interestingly enough, this particular point is also really good for hiccups. It's a pressure point that you can use your fingers on. If you have a really severe case of hiccups, you can just press behind your ears. That'll make the hiccups go away. I'm also going to do some auricular points, meaning into the ear. It's not going into the ear canal, it's going into the pinna of the ear, this cartilaginous section that you're used to looking at. I pick 5 points for myself usually. Most of these are for anxiety. Insomnia. I have a very overactive mind as well. I cannot get my brain to shut off a lot of times. I'm going to freehand these. This is really the only time that we freehand needles in the US is when we're doing auricular acupuncture. I am going to use my mirror over here, so hopefully you can still see what's happening. The first point that I'm going to do is a point called Shenmen. It's a really good point for calming the mind down. Goes right in there. And that was totally off camera. Sorry, guys. The next one I'm going to do is sympathetic point, which is going to go right behind. I have an earring in the way. There we go. Right in there. Next point that I'm going to do is called 0 point. It's also a point that's really good for anxiety. And then the last 2 points I'm going to do are liver and spleen. Chinese medicine considers the liver, you know, menstrual issues. It's also most closely associated with anger and frustration. I think all of us are probably feeling some frustration right about now. Also, a lot of headache things, tendons and headaches are associated with liver. That's going to be right about here. And then spleen. My face is on fire. My blood is moving so much more. Spleen is going to be right there. Spleen is responsible for muscles. It's also associated with overthinking, which we know is my problem. You'll notice that my face is starting to get red. That means that the needles are doing their job. I'm increasing my blood circulation. Things are getting nice and toasty as well. Part of that might be doing a video, because we know how shy that I am on a regular basis. Anyway, this is my facial and auricular acupuncture that I typically do for myself. I figured I would give you guys a little glimpse. I'm gonna let these sit in for about 25 minutes and then I'll take them out. That's not very exciting, so we'll skip that bit. If you have any questions, let me know. I hope I get to see you guys in the office really soon. I miss you all. Bye.